Okay, how's it going, everyone? Welcome to my first NFL mock draft post Super Bowl edition. I thought now would be a good time to put out my first mock draft now that the 2024 NFL season is officially over. I'm just going to hop right into it with the Tennessee Titans on the clock with the first overall pick here. And I could see them going in multiple positions here. Especially quarterback is a big need with Mason Rudolph set to hit free agency and Will Levis basically just not panning out for them. Cam Ward looks like a good choice, as well as Shadur Sanders. Though that QB is a need, I think that they, in reality, just have a lot of holes on their whole team in general. And like the general manager did say, that they really don't want to pass up on a generational player, generational talent here. And while I can see them going with Travis Hunter here as well, I do have them taking Abdul Carter out of Penn State. Though I don't think he's necessarily a generational player per se. I really do think he is a blue chip player, especially at the defensive end position. He's arguably one of the best players in this year's draft. And he really just has the ability to wreck any offense that he lines up against, and he has a really elite burst and speed, and he'll just really demand a lot of attention on the defensive side of the ball. And so they get a blue chip player here at the defensive end position, which really is a need for them. And going on to pick 2 with the Cleveland Browns here. So yeah, same predicament kind of. They really have a lot of holes on their team in general. I can see them going a multitude of ways, either offensive line, Travis Hunter, corner. But the biggest question on their team in general is the quarterback position. Deshaun Watson has not panned out for them since being with the Cleveland Browns. Jameis Winston is set to hit free agency. I know that their cap situation is not the best this year, so I'm not sure if they'll be in the market to sign one of the top free agent quarterbacks in this year's offseason. So I do have them taking a quarterback here, and I actually have them taking Cam Ward out of Miami. Yeah, so like I said, a lot of question marks on at the quarterback position. Yeah, and Cam Ward is really just a really solid player, a proven playmaker at the quarterback position, and he's really worthy of an early first round draft pick here. He has the ability to create within the structure while maintaining great accuracy on off platform throws. He's able to create out of structure plays as well, and he's really just an ideal fit for modern NFL offenses. He has great processing speed, and he really just has the ability to elevate an entire offense. Even if it was a strong standout quarterback class, I think he'd be one of the top picks here too. But moving on to number 3, again, the New York Giants. They really need to hit on a quarterback this year, especially with Daniel Jones leaving last season. And Brian Daboll and Joe Shane really need to get it right this year. I mean, it's probably their last year, their last opportunity with the New York Giants. So they definitely need to take quarterback. The only quarterback that's worthy of this pick is Shadur Sanders. Um, and something about Shadur Sanders that really doesn't happen with any other player is he can inject immediate excitement into the fan base with his name alone. He'll bring a lot of excitement to the New York Giants and to the fans especially. He really has a high ceiling in the NFL as a prospect who can develop into a potential franchise quarterback for the New York Giants. Um, yeah, he has great precision in the short and intermediate game. He's has pretty solid high IQ and advanced processing skills as a quarterback. One thing I would knock him off for is he doesn't have the best deep ball throw in this class here, and he also doesn't have the best mobility. But I do think he makes it up for a lot of other things that he is able to do here. But yeah, so New York Giants take Sanders here at pick 3. Moving on to pick 4 and the New England Patriots. I was debating between 2 players here, and that was on the offensive side of the ball. And I was debating between wide receiver Ted McMillan and offensive lineman Will Campbell. I can see them taking either or. Drake May definitely needs a haul of playmakers on the offense. Also, the offensive line is absolutely atrocious. So, building along the trenches is really something very important. And I would highly think that Mike Vrabel would agree with winning in the trenches. So I am going to take Will Campbell out of LSU for the New England Patriots. Yeah, he really just has a rare combination of mobility and power and can make him scheme proof. And I really think he has all the tools that can he be utilized to make him a decade plus starter in this league. But yeah, moving on to number 5. I mean, just really have to take best player available here. Travis Hunter slips to pick 5. It'll be interesting to see, which teams value him at which position more so. But coming into this, Travis Hunter indicates that he wants to be a corner at the next level. And I think that this really just fits best player available and need for the Jacksonville Jaguars. But also, I really think that Liam Cohen will be able to scheme up like a handful of offensive plays for him if he does decide to be mostly as cornerback in the NFL. But yeah, he has really just positional versatility on both sides. Allows him to be great on offense and defense, and it really is his greatest strength, being versatile, but also is the biggest question mark leading into the draft evaluation here. But moving on to pick 6 and the Las Vegas Raiders. Yeah, so Pete Carroll now in charge and head coach with the Raiders here. And knowing Pete Carroll's background, building the defense, especially in the secondary, I think is really important to him. And so I have them taking Will Johnson out of Michigan. He just really has ideal length and size for an outside boundary corner. He's really scheme versatile, can be immediate impact in any scheme. And I really think that he has all the tools to be a franchise cornerstone for this Raiders defense here. Moving on to pick 7, again, defensive-minded head coach here. Best player available. You really just need to take Mason Graham out of Michigan with this pick. You can pair him up with Quinnen Williams in the interior. And he fits the bill as really an immediate impact starter who can anchor the defensive front while providing scheme versatility across multiple techniques here. But yeah, moving on to pick 8 and the Carolina Panthers. So this was really tough for me. I was debating between, a defensive player because they really do need help with their defensive unit. But I see Tech McMillan sitting here, and knowing Dave Canales, I think that he'll really like Tech McMillan. Defense is in need, but doesn't hurt to get Bryce Young more weapons, especially now that they know that Bryce Young can be their franchise quarterback for the future with how he played near the end of the 2024 NFL season. So I had them taking Ted McMillan. I mean, he just has a really rare combination of size, hands, and route running. I mean, he's 6'5". He doesn't even feel like he's 6'5", just the way he plays. He's just so smooth, and he can really become a scheme versatile receiver who can move around the formation and create a lot of mismatches on the offense. And I think he'll be a fun toy to play with for Dave Canales and the Carolina Panthers offense here. Yeah, moving on to pick 9 and the New Orleans Saints. Yeah, so this is really just a hot mess for the New Orleans Saints, and I can see them going a plethora of ways here. But in all reality, they just need defensive line is a must need here, especially with Chase Young hitting free agency. I have them taking Mikael Williams out of Georgia. He played a little bit injured in 2024 with the Bulldogs, but he showed flashes of dominance. And I think he has a great combination of size, speed, power, length, and athleticism. Ceiling can be really high for this group of edge rushers here, but I think he just needs a little bit of refinement in his technique. But I think, pairing with the Saints and how they roll, it'll be interesting to see what kind of defensive coordinator they bring in. I think that'll play a huge factor into, what kind of direction they go for in this draft. But I think Mikael Williams is just a good fit in general for the New Orleans Saints. Moving on, number 10, Chicago Bears. I think this really is a no-brainer. They just need help on their offensive line in general. So I have them taking Kelvin Banks Jr. here, who's listed as a tackle. I can see him moving into the guard position here. And I think his versatility can project as an impact starter at either spots. The Bears' offensive line was atrocious. They had a season-high 68 sacks for Caleb Williams. So they really just need to build more around Caleb Williams, whether that's playmakers and the offensive line here. But yeah, I think Banks has all the tools to develop into a Pro Bowl caliber player at either spot. So I think that he has a higher ceiling at the guard position just based on how he plays and the size that he comes in at. Going with the 49ers at pick 11 here. Again, they have a lot of key free agents leaving this offseason, and they also have to extend Brock Purdy. So they're losing Charvarius Ward, starting left guard Aaron Banks, Devondre Campbell, Dre Greenlaw, Talanoa Hufanga. So a lot of starting players leaving free agency. It will be interesting to see who they re-sign and who they let go. But for this pick, I actually have them taking, building the offensive line, and I have them taking Armin Membo out of, let me see where he is. Armin Membo out of Missouri here. Again, another versatile offensive lineman who can project as an impact starter at either spot. He has great mobility and movement skills with high-end athletic ability. He best projects in a run-heavy scheme like the San Francisco 49ers, and with Aaron Banks hitting free agency, I think this makes a lot of sense here. Something that also makes a lot of sense, and probably the most mocked player for the Dallas Cowboys is Ashton Gianti. I think it just makes too much sense. I mean, Ashton Gianti has been publicly vocal on how he wants to be a Dallas Cowboy, how he thinks it'd be a great fit for him. And I also think that the Cowboys will really look at the Eagles this last season and see what Saquon Barkley has done for the Philadelphia Eagles to help elevate their offense. And I think they'll kind of use that blueprint and take a blue chip player here in Ashton Gianti. I mean, everyone knows him at this point. Heisman runner-up here, and they definitely need a running back. They really need a lot of positions here, but you just take best player available and someone that can help elevate the offense with Dak Prescott here. Moving on to pick 13 and the Miami Dolphins. Again, a lot of key free agents leaving for them. And Javon Holland, safety, I think they do bring him back though, but they are also losing both of their guards and Robert Jones and Liam Eichenberg. Yeah, so I really don't see how they can't address the offensive line here. I mean, they have all the playmakers that they need on the offense. Their defense is actually quite good, and with the emergence of Chop Robinson last year. I have them taking Josh Simmons out of Ohio State. He had a little knee injury in 2024, so it'll be interesting to see how the medicals play out for him. But I really think that he can be a day one starter for the Miami Dolphins, especially if Teron Armstead becomes a cap casualty or just simply retires in this offseason. Pick 14 in the Indianapolis Colts. I have them taking Tyler Warren out of Penn State. Tight end is a big need. Jelani Woods, shown some promise here, but he just cannot stay healthy for them. And Tyler Warren is the best tight end in this class. I think he's really special. I don't think he's as good as Brock Bowers, but I think he can be a very impactful starter day one. And he has a lot of experience operating from multiple alignments, which meshes perfectly with modern 12 personnel packages that creates mismatches. And it just gives Anthony Richards another weapon to play with. And I think this is just a good overall fit and need for the Indianapolis Colts here. All right, going on to pick 15 and the Atlanta Falcons. Listen, they just need some pass rush help in general. They ranked 31st in sacks last season. So they need someone with high upside, and someone that I do think has high upside is Mike Green out of Marshall. I mean, I think he has a good blend of speed and technique that really projects well in passing downs. Though he is a little bit on the slimmer side, about 250. So it'll be interesting to see what he weighs in, especially at the NFL Combine. But there is legitimate concerns about his weight and how it holds up against offensive tackles in the run game. But you've seen someone like Nolan Smith, who is a little bit smaller and a smaller frame, thrive well playing at the defensive end position. So I think he really has a lot of high upside that he can bring a lot of versatility to the Atlanta Falcons defense there. And moving on to pick 16 and the Atlanta Falcons. Yes, so again, I could see them going offensive line here. I actually do have them taking defensive player here, and that would be Jalon Walker out of Georgia. The really one thing that comes off for me is his versatility, being able to play defensive end, being able to play off ball linebacker, and I really think that Jonathan Gannon can maximize his versatility and use him in multiple positions there. And I really just think he can be productive in any system, whether that's whether he's playing defensive end or off-ball linebacker. Yeah, so moving on to pick 17 and the Cincinnati Bengals. Yeah, so key free agents is definitely T. Higgins. It'll be interesting to see if he resigns with the Cincinnati Bengals or not. But also, you gotta know that they are possibly going to extend Jamar Chase as well this offseason. So a whole lot of complications there on the offensive side. So defensively, we know that they need to add more playmakers on the defensive side of the ball. And I have them taking Walter Nolan out of Mississippi here. He has the versatility to play multiple techniques at the D-tackle position. And I really think he can become a potential defensive playmaker at the defensive tackle position. I mean, really besides Sam Hubbard, they really don't have anyone else to help that defensive line there. So have them taking Walter Nolan with the 17th overall pick there. Moving on to pick 18 in the Seattle Seahawks. Key free agents that they're losing are Ernest Jones, linebacker, guard Laken Tomlinson, and defensive tackle Jarran Reed here. And in all honesty, the Seahawks just need to find some stability at the offensive line position. I mean, they have been having a lot of trouble with their offensive line for a few years now, so I do have them taking Tyler Booker out of Alabama. Yeah, so like I said, they need to find stability there. I think Tyler Booker is probably one of the safer guards to take in this NFL draft. I think he has all the physical tools and the foundation is in place to make an immediate impact for this offensive line here. Pick 19 and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Yes, so this is interesting because they're losing Chris Godwin, this free agency, who unfortunately got injured last season. But they're also losing Lavonte David as well. So I actually have them taking another linebacker in Jihad Campbell. Even if they bring back Lavonte David, I think Jihad Campbell can be can eventually replace him at that linebacker position. But yeah, I think Campbell brings scheme versatility and explosive athleticism to the table. He can cover, he can run defend, he can blitz well, he can do everything at the linebacker position, and I think this really fits well for this Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense here. Broncos at pick 20, yes. So I'm just gonna keep it plain and simple. Their tight end play was horrible last year, and they even released Greg Dulcich there. And there happens to be a pretty good tight end here for the Denver Broncos take in Colston Loveland. It just gives Bo Nix another weapon on the offense here, and I think Loveland has ideal size and upside as a pass catcher. And I think he best projects as a dynamic receiving tight end who can really create mismatches for multiple alignments and wherever you line him up in the passing game. But moving on to pick 21 and the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers really need to address the quarterback position, but I do not think that this is the pick to address it at. So whether that's free agency or later on in the draft or trade or whatnot, whatever it may be, they need to address the quarterback position here. But assuming that the quarterback position is already figured out, I have them taking a playmaker to pair up with George Pickens, and that would be Emeka Egbuka. I was debating between Luther Burden and Egbuka, but I really think that Egbuka would fit better with this offense. Though he isn't an elite athlete, I do think he has really good speed. I think he's a tremendous route runner who really gets open and is able to move the chains. He can really play in any alignment, but I think he's best suited for the slot, and pairing him up with George Pickens, I think that would be a really good duo for the Steelers. I think they just need playmakers all across the board, whether that's offensively or defensively, especially in the secondary. I think they'll address that position one way or the other. Speaking of playmakers, with pick 22 and the Los Angeles Chargers, I have them taking Matthew Golden out of Texas. Chargers really could use a wide receiver and give Herbert more options. And I think that Golden is a true deep threat with really good route running, really good hands, good separation skills, and he has big playmaking ability. He can really stretch this offense for the Chargers here, and I think that with Herbert and the arm that he has, I think this really fits well in what they do there. But moving on to pick 23 and the Green Bay Packers, I see them going defensively here, whether that's secondary or the defensive line help here, and you can make the case for them drafting a corner here, with Eric Stokes set to hit free agency and the question mark on Jair Alexander whether he's coming back or not. But I have them taking defensive line help here in Shamar Stewart out of Texas A&M. Again, they need pass rush help. I think he has really great size. He's really just a defensive force and fits well in this 4-3 scheme where he can just really pin his ear back and really just attack upfield in that wide 9 alignment. I think that this fits really well in what he does as a player. But moving on to pick 24 and the Minnesota Vikings. Let me take a drink of water. Damn. Ugh, I'm getting thirsty. Talking so much. I haven't talked this much. Yeah. Ooh. Pick 24 and Minnesota Vikings. I have them taking Jahdae Barron, DB out of Texas. I mean, first and foremost, they need to address the secondary. They have a lot of secondary players that are leaving to free agency. Just to name some: Harrison Smith, Cameron Bynum, Stephon Gilmore, Shaq Griffin, Byron Murphy. I mean, those are basically all their starters that they're losing to free agency. So I have them taking Jahdae Barron, who is really just a versatile player that can play inside, outside. He can even play safety if need be. And one thing that stands out with Barron is he has really high football IQ, and he's really smart. So being able to plug him into Brian Flores' really complex coverage scheme makes him fit perfectly here for the Minnesota Vikings. Pick 25, I know that offensive line is a very big need for the Texans. Um, I see I see why. I think they might address that in free agency. They'll definitely address it in the draft as well. But for this mock, I have them actually taking a wide receiver in Luther Burden. Yeah, so plain and simple, they're losing Stephon Diggs in free agency, who I doubt returns. They lost Tank Dell to injury last season, which he might not be healthy to start for the start of the next NFL season. And I think Luther Burden just his ability to create with the ball and make him immediately contribute in the slot and just giving him the ball and putting the ball in his hands. He is really explosive and can create plays out of thin air. So I think he can really pair up well with what Nico Collins does and how CJ Stroud plays as well. Moving on to pick 26 and the Los Angeles Rams. Yeah, so a lot of question marks with Matthew Stafford at the quarterback position. Cooper Kupp being on the trade market there. They need offensive line help as well. I just see them taking best player available, bolstering up their secondary here. I have them taking corner Siobhan Regal out of ECU here. And he got injured actually pretty early in this 2024 season. But pre-injury, he was being projected as like a top 15 pick. So I think this is good value here, given that the medicals clear up and everything for him. But I think that he really has a good combination of size, speed, and physicality. And he can really be a great boundary corner in a press-heavy scheme like the Rams use here. But moving on to pick 27 and the Baltimore Ravens. Some key free agents that are set to be here in the offseason. Ronnie Stanley, Brandon Stevens, Patrick McCarry. Yeah, so Ronnie Stanley hits free agency and doesn't return here. I see them addressing the offensive line. I mean, even if he stays, I still see them addressing the offensive line here. So I had them taking Josh Connolly here out of Oregon. I think he can really be a day one impact at the left tackle position. I think he has rare movement skills that can be utilized in this wide zone system that the Ravens use here. And yeah, so I think this is good value for the Baltimore Ravens. Pick 28, Detroit Lions really need defensive help here. I mean, their defense health was depleted last season. I had them taking James Pierce Jr. I mean, it fits best player available and what they need perfectly here. Again, they have a star in Aiden Hutchinson. Zadarius Smith is getting a little bit older there, so I think they just need depth. And James Pierce Jr. Profiles as an immediate impact as a pass rush specialist with the ceiling to develop into a complete 3-down edge defender for them. But moving on to pick 29 and the Washington Commanders here. I can see them going offensive line or defensive line here. It's really just pick your poison. For this mock draft, I have them taking defensive line here in Nick Scorton at a Texas A&M. Yeah, he's a prospect that has a really unique blend of size, explosiveness, and length. His production did take a slight dip last season for the Aggies, but I think he's really got a physical profile to be dominant and really help this defensive line room here with the Washington Commanders. Pick 30, Buffalo Bills. Yeah, they need playmakers. I mean, Amari Cooper set to hit free agency. I'm not sure if they re-sign him or not there. But Deion Coleman, Khalil Shakir, Dawson Knox. I don't know. I don't know what they can do there at the playmaking position. But again, gotta think about just taking best player available. They also do need help with the defense that they have there and the defensive unit that they use. So I have them taking Malachi Starks, safety out of Georgia. You really just need to take best player available on defense. And I really think that Malachi Starks offers elite athleticism, and he's really physical, especially in the run game where he can just come down in the box and help out there. Moving on, Kansas City Chiefs, pick 31. Big key free agency. Free agent that they're losing is Trey Smith, which I doubt returns. I think he's going to command a very expensive market in free agency. So I have them taking Gray Zabel out of North Dakota State. Again, the Chiefs potentially have 2 or 3 positions open on the offensive line there, and I think Gray Zabel has the versatility to put him in any position on the offensive line. And while he shows the skill set to play tackle, I think he may be better served as a guard and moving inside where he has natural leverage and that can really shine there. So yeah, I really think that they need to address the offensive line with the first round pick here. And moving on to the Super Bowl champs, Philadelphia Eagles at pick 32. Some key free agents that they're losing consist of Zach Bond, Josh Sweat, Mekhi Becton, Milton Williams. I think that they need to address the defensive line here, so that they have been going defensive line quite recently with their first few selections in the past year's draft. I think that they need to keep getting younger there. So I had them taking Kenneth Grant, who can really replace Milton Williams. I think he fits perfectly in Fangio's scheme, and I think Fangio and his versatility to put him at any position. And I think Kenneth Grant can really play any technique at the defensive line position there. And he just has really freak athleticism, being his size and the way he moves at the defensive tackle position. But yeah, that'll be my first mock draft post NFL season, post Super Bowl. Let me know what you think. Comment down below. And if you did enjoy the video, please leave a like and please subscribe. That would mean a lot to me. But yeah, that'll pretty much be it. See ya.